Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about a unique Nintendo Switch accessory that combines two of the Switch's signature playstyles, the Fixture S1. And real quick, if you're new here and you like a mix of Nintendo news and product reviews, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on everything happening with the channel. With all that out of the way, let's talk about the Fixture S1. So last year I got in contact with the creator of the Fixture, which was actually known as the Switch Fix back then, and he sent me an early 3D printed prototype model, which was really cool at the time because you had the option of adding a custom design to your prototype. So of course I went with my channel name, and since then there's been some ups and downs with the Switch Fix name falling under Nintendo's trademark, so there had to be a bit of a rebrand, hence the new Fixture S1 name. But now a year later, the Fixture S1 has improved immensely over the prototype model, and I thought it would be cool to kind of go over some of the differences between this final production unit and the prototype, and just give my thoughts on the Fixture S1 in general. So right off the bat, the Fixture S1 allows you to use your Pro Controller in handheld mode, utilizing a form factor somewhat similar to the xCloud phone clips you've probably seen lately, and I think it creates a really interesting way to play. The Pro Controller is far more comfortable than the stock Joy-Con, and the joysticks are better as well. And I haven't seen that many similar options from competitors. There's a ton of grips out there to make handheld mode more comfortable, but not a ton of Pro Controller clip options. And I've posted about the Fixture some on my Instagram page, and one of the questions I get the most is, isn't that really heavy, or that looks kind of top heavy, does it pull your hands forward? And I can understand why people are asking that. You're attaching a whole Pro Controller to the Switch screen, but the unit itself is very light, and then of course you won't have the Joy-Con attached, which aren't really the lightest things. So yeah, I'd say it's a little heavier than using your Switch in handheld mode, but another big benefit of the Fixture is how highly adjustable it is. Not only can you adjust the angle of the Switch screen, but you can also adjust the height, and this allows you to find a perfect balance in your hands. And when you get that balance just right, it somehow ends up feeling lighter than it actually is, if that makes sense. Another cool little added bonus of the Fixture is it can also function as a stand for the Switch tablet in tabletop mode. So enough about the basics, let's take a look at some of the key differences between this final production unit and the prototype. And the biggest difference here is the build quality. Since the prototype was 3D printed, it was extremely rigid, and clipping it into the Pro Controller was a bit of a jarring experience. It also lacked any padding on the interior, so it made me a little nervous about scuffing up my controller or the back of the Switch. And with the new model, it's now made of injection molded plastic and contains padding on the inside as well as silicone pads on the top section to create a snug and scratch-free fit. The final production model also now has two pass-through holes to allow you to charge your Switch or your Pro Controller while playing, and I think those are excellent additions. That being said, clipping your Pro Controller into the Fixture still feels like a pretty tight fit, and I think after repeated use you're bound to get a little bit of scuffing on the bottom of your controller where it connects to the Fixture, and the same goes for the silicone nubs at the top. They keep the screen nice and snug, but I think if you're pulling your screen in and out constantly, you're bound to rub off a little bit of that matte finish on the Switch. And I don't really think that's the Fixture's fault. Unfortunately, that slightly rubberized finish that Nintendo went with on the Switch is extremely susceptible to scratches or rubbing off, and maybe that's a bit of a nitpick, but I just wanted to mention it for those who like to keep their Switch and controller in pristine condition. And I think that covers everything. If you're someone like me who finds the Joy-Con a little bit uncomfortable after a while, and you already have a Pro Controller at home, I think the Fixture S1 is a great option to have around, especially for games like Smash where you might be a little more concerned about performance. It just gives you that comfort and accuracy of a Pro Controller while playing in handheld mode. So if you know what a Pro Controller feels like, you've got a good idea of what it feels like to play with the Fixture S1. Of course, you'll just also have your screen right there in your hands. You can go to fixturegaming.com and check everything out for yourself. There are two different colors available, one that matches the neon Joy-Con and also a gray version, and it looks like you can still visit the Indiegogo link to claim one for slightly cheaper than they go for on Amazon. The remaining Indiegogo perks are going for $29.99, and then the Amazon listing goes for $34.99. And for the build quality and the attention to detail, I think that's a totally reasonable price. And I think that does it for the Fixture S1. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like on your way out and consider subscribing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.